So what's another one that leaches minerals out of the body is alcohol. Alcohol's a toxic poison. It was 15 years ago the Australian Health Department put out a statement. I haven't seen the statement since. It says there is no safe dose of alcohol. It's toxic poison. Children are being born today with fetal alcohol syndrome from parents that have even a couple of drinks a week. You see, alcohol directly affects the liver and also the brain.
The most dangerous substances harming your nerves and triggering neuropathy, the ones doctors rarely talk about, could already be sitting in your kitchen. Peripheral neuropathy affects more than 20 million Americans. It leads to serious pain, numbness, tingling, and weakness that can greatly reduce quality of life. Many people believe neuropathy only comes from diabetes or getting older, but the reality is more concerning. Several everyday substances you come across daily can quietly damage your peripheral nerves over time. These harmful substances, known as neurotoxins, cause gradual and often permanent nerve damage that may take years before symptoms appear. By the time you notice tingling in your hands or feet, a large amount of nerve damage may already be present. In this video, we're going to break down the most harmful nerve toxins linked to neuropathy. We'll rank them based on how commonly people are exposed to them and how much damage they can cause. Number 7 is a medication taken by millions. Number 3 is probably already in your kitchen. And number 1 is so widespread that avoiding it completely is extremely difficult. Yet most people have no idea it's affecting their nerves. These are not rare chemicals, they are part of everyday life. So let's start with the nerve toxins your doctor may not have told you about. Poison number 7, statin medications used to lower cholesterol. We begin with a drug used by over 40 million Americans. Statins, including atorvastatin, Lipitor, simvastatin, Zocor, rosuvastatin, Crestor, and pravastatin, have been linked to peripheral neuropathy. Here's what many patients are not told. Statins work by blocking HMG-CoA reductase, an enzyme the liver uses to produce cholesterol. Lowering cholesterol helps reduce heart disease risk. But cholesterol also plays a key role in the body, especially in nerve cells. The protective covering around nerves, known as the myelin sheath, is made up of about 70% fats, including cholesterol. This layer allows nerve signals to travel quickly and efficiently. When cholesterol production drops too much, nerve cells struggle to maintain and repair this protective layer. As a result, the insulation weakens, and nerve signals can slow down or stop. Statins also reduce levels of CoQ10, a compound needed for energy production inside cells. Nerve cells require a large amount of energy to function properly. They rely heavily on ATP to run sodium-potassium pumps, which are essential for sending nerve signals. These pumps operate constantly and use up to 70% of a neuron's energy. When CoQ10 levels fall, nerve cells may not get the energy they need, leading to dysfunction and eventual cell death. Studies published in Neurology have looked into statin-related nerve damage. Findings suggest that around 2 to 5% of statin users develop peripheral neuropathy. The real number may be higher, since many cases are not reported or correctly diagnosed. Symptoms usually appear slowly, often months or even years after starting the medication. Early signs include tingling or numbness in the toes, which can gradually spread upward into the feet and legs in a pattern often described as stocking distribution. Some people also report burning sensations, electric shock-like feelings, or extreme sensitivity to touch. What makes this type of neuropathy difficult to recognize is how gradually it develops. Many patients don't connect their symptoms to a medication they've been taking for years without issues. In some cases, doctors may not link the symptoms to statins either, and instead attribute them to aging or other conditions. Several factors can increase the risk. These include higher doses, such as simvastatin or atorvastatin above 40 milligrams daily, long-term use over 5 years, combining statins with other medications that raise their levels in the blood, low vitamin B12 levels, diabetes, and genetic differences in how the body processes these drugs. If you're taking statins and begin to notice symptoms of neuropathy, speak with your doctor right away. Possible steps may include lowering the dose, switching to a different statin, or adding CoQ10 supplements in the range of 100 to 200 milligrams per day to support energy production. It's also important to check vitamin B12 levels and correct any deficiency, ideally keeping levels above 400 picograms per milliliter for nerve health. In some situations, stopping the medication may be considered, but only under medical supervision. Never stop statins on your own, as this can increase heart-related risks. The goal is to find a balance between protecting your heart and supporting your nerves. Poison number 6, chemotherapy drugs used in cancer treatment. Another major cause of nerve damage comes from chemotherapy. Chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, often called CIPN, is one of the most common side effects of cancer treatment. It affects between 30 and 70% of patients, depending on the drugs used. Many chemotherapy drugs directly damage nerves while targeting cancer cells. The most harmful groups include platinum-based drugs like cisplatin, oxaliplatin, and carboplatin, taxanes such as paclitaxel and docetaxel, vinca alkaloids like vincristine and vinblastine, proteasome inhibitors like bortezomib, and immunomodulatory drugs such as thalidomide and lenalidomide. These drugs affect nerves in different ways. Platinum-based drugs bind to DNA and cause damage that nerve cells cannot repair properly. This is especially harmful to sensory neurons. Taxanes interfere with microtubules, which act as the transport system inside nerve cells. These structures move nutrients and essential materials from the cell body down to the nerve endings. When this system breaks down, the parts of the nerve farthest from the center, especially in the hands and feet, begin to deteriorate. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology shows that symptoms often begin during treatment, usually after the second or third cycle when the drug builds up in the body. Early symptoms include tingling, numbness, or burning sensations in the toes and fingertips. As treatment continues, symptoms can spread upward into the legs and arms in what's known as a glove and stocking pattern. In more serious cases, patients may lose sensation in their feet, which can make walking unsafe and increase the risk of falls. Fine motor skills may also be affected, making tasks like buttoning clothes or writing more difficult. If motor nerves are involved, muscle weakness and balance problems can develop. Some patients may need walking aids or even wheelchairs. One of the most difficult aspects of chemotherapy-related neuropathy is that it doesn't always stop when treatment ends. In about 30 to 40% of patients, symptoms stay the same or even get worse after chemotherapy is finished. This is known as the coasting effect, where nerve damage continues even without further exposure. In some cases, the damage becomes permanent. Right now, there is no confirmed treatment that can fully prevent or reverse this type of neuropathy. However, patients can take steps to manage it. It's important to report symptoms to your oncologist as soon as they appear. Early action may allow for dose adjustments or switching to less harmful drugs. Physical therapy can help maintain balance and strength. Medications like gabapentin, pregabalin, or duloxetine may reduce nerve pain, although they do not stop the damage itself. Poison number 5. Excessive alcohol use damaging peripheral nerves. Alcohol-related neuropathy affects between 25 and 66% of people with long-term alcohol use, making it one of the most common causes of toxic nerve damage worldwide. So how does alcohol harm your nerves? Ethanol, the type of alcohol found in drinks, directly damages nerve cells in several ways. It alters the structure of nerve cell membranes, making them weaker and easier to damage. It also disrupts mitochondrial function, which lowers the energy supply that nerve cells depend on. On top of that, alcohol increases oxidative stress, producing harmful molecules that damage proteins, fats, and DNA inside nerve cells. Another major issue is nutrient depletion. Long-term alcohol use leads to serious deficiencies, especially in thiamine, also known as vitamin B1. This vitamin is critical for energy production in nerve cells. Without enough thiamine, nerve cells can't produce the ATP they need to survive, and they begin to die. Alcohol also lowers levels of vitamin B12, folate, vitamin B6, and other nutrients that support nerve health. Research published in Alcohol and Alcoholism shows that the risk of neuropathy rises with both how much and how long someone drinks. Consuming 4 to 5 drinks daily for 5 years or more greatly increases the risk. Even moderate drinking over many years can lead to nerve damage in some individuals. Symptoms usually start with sensory changes. Many people first notice a burning pain in their feet, often described as walking on hot coals or sharp glass. This is followed by numbness and tingling, typically affecting both feet equally. As the condition worsens, symptoms move upward into the legs. Hands may become involved, and fine motor skills can decline. In more advanced cases, pain becomes severe, especially at night, which can disturb sleep. If motor nerves are affected, it can lead to foot drop, muscle loss, and significant weakness. If alcohol is the cause, complete avoidance is necessary. Continuing to drink will lead to ongoing nerve damage and can result in permanent disability. Stopping alcohol may allow some recovery over time, although full recovery is uncommon if the damage is advanced. Thiamine supplementation is essential, often around 100 milligrams 3 times daily or given through IV in severe cases. Vitamin B12 may also need to be replaced through injections. A full B-complex vitamin can support recovery, and physical therapy helps maintain strength and mobility during the healing process. Poison number 4, heavy metals such as lead, mercury, and arsenic. Heavy metal exposure is a less obvious cause of neuropathy, but it can happen through work environments, contaminated surroundings, or even food sources. The most common metals involved are lead, mercury, and arsenic. These metals damage nerves by interfering with enzyme systems throughout the body. They attach to important proteins in nerve cells and block their normal function. They also disrupt the internal transport system of nerves, damage mitochondria, increase oxidative stress, and harm the myelin sheath that protects nerve fibers. Lead exposure used to come mainly from paint, pipes, and fuel. While these sources have been reduced, exposure still happens through contaminated soil, certain imported ceramics, some traditional remedies, and jobs like battery manufacturing or shooting ranges where lead dust is inhaled. Lead is especially harmful to children, but long-term exposure in adults can still lead to nerve damage. Mercury exposure often comes from dental fillings that release small amounts of vapor over time, as well as eating large fish like tuna, swordfish, and shark, which store high levels of mercury. It can also occur in certain industries or from broken thermometers and fluorescent bulbs. Methylmercury, in particular, easily enters the brain and builds up in nerve tissue. Arsenic exposure is usually linked to contaminated drinking water in certain regions, older treated wood, some rice products, and jobs involving mining or pesticides. Studies in environmental health perspectives show that long-term exposure, even at low levels, can lead to slowly progressing neuropathy. Symptoms often include numbness, tingling, and burning in the hands and feet. In more severe cases, muscle weakness can develop. Lead tends to affect motor nerves more, causing wrist or foot drop. Mercury exposure may also lead to tremors and memory issues. Arsenic can cause both sudden and long-term nerve problems and may also lead to visible skin changes. Diagnosing heavy metal toxicity requires specific tests. Blood tests can show recent exposure but may miss long-term buildup. Urine testing after a chelation challenge can reveal stored levels in the body. Hair analysis is sometimes used, though results can vary. If heavy metal exposure is suspected, the first step is to identify and remove the source. Treatments like chelation therapy can help remove metals from the body when levels are high. Antioxidants such as vitamin C, vitamin E, alpha-lipoic acid, and N-acetylcysteine may help reduce damage. It's also important to correct nutrient deficiencies, since minerals like calcium, iron, and zinc can compete with heavy metals and reduce their absorption. Poison number 3, excess sugar and refined carbs damaging your nerves. This is the toxin sitting in your kitchen that most people consume every day without realizing the impact. High sugar and refined carbs don't just lead to diabetes, they can damage nerves directly, even before diabetes develops. Here's what happens inside the body. When you eat large amounts of sugar or refined carbs, your blood sugar rises quickly. Over time, these repeated spikes cause sugar to attach to proteins in a process called glycation. This creates harmful compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds build up in nerve tissue and blood vessels, leading to inflammation and oxidative damage. In nerves, AGEs damage the tiny blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients. When these vessels are affected, nerves don't get what they need to function properly. High blood sugar also harms Schwann cells, which are responsible for maintaining the protective myelin layer around nerves. When these cells are damaged, nerve signals slow down or stop. Another pathway involved is the polyol pathway. In this process, excess glucose is converted into sorbitol. Sorbitol builds up inside nerve cells and draws water into them, leading to swelling and dysfunction. At the same time, this process reduces levels of NADPH, which is needed to produce glutathione, the body's main antioxidant. As glutathione drops, oxidative damage increases. Research from Diabetes Care shows that even pre-diabetes raises the risk of neuropathy by about 50% compared to people with normal blood sugar levels. This means nerve damage can begin long before someone is diagnosed with diabetes. Studies on people with metabolic syndrome have also found that 30 to 40% already show signs of nerve damage, even without diabetes. The problem with sugar-related nerve damage is how slowly it builds. It develops over years or even decades. Most people also consume far more sugar than they realize. The average American takes in around 17 teaspoons of added sugar each day, which is more than 3 times the recommended limit. While soda and sweets are obvious sources, sugar is also hidden in foods like bread, pasta, sauces, dressings, yogurt, and even products marketed as healthy. To reduce the risk, cutting back on added sugar is key. Aim for less than 25 grams per day. Avoid sugary drinks completely, including soda, sweetened tea, energy drinks, and fruit juice. Limit refined carbs like white bread, white rice, and pasta, since they raise blood sugar quickly. Focus on foods high in fiber like vegetables, beans, and whole grains, which slow down sugar absorption. Balance your meals with protein and healthy fats to keep blood sugar stable. It's also a good idea to check your A1C regularly and keep it below 5.7% or closer to 5.4% for better metabolic health. Poison number 2, commonly prescribed medications beyond statins. Several widely used prescription drugs can lead to peripheral neuropathy, and in many cases, patients are never clearly warned about the risk. Fluoroquinolone antibiotics, such as ciprofloxacin and levofloxacin, have been linked to long-lasting or even permanent nerve damage, sometimes after just a short course. These drugs affect mitochondria, harm nerve cells, and increase oxidative stress. The FDA has issued a black box warning for this risk, yet they are still often prescribed for routine infections where safer options could be used. Metronidazole, another antibiotic used for bacterial and parasitic infections, carries a risk that increases with higher doses and longer use. Taking more than 2 grams at a time or reaching a total intake above 42 grams raises the chances of neuropathy, which in some cases may not reverse. Nitrofurantoin, commonly given for urinary tract infections, can also cause serious nerve damage when used over long periods. This risk is higher in older adults, especially those with reduced kidney function. Some medications used to treat tuberculosis, including isoniazid and ethambutol, are known to affect the nerves. Isoniazid, in particular, disrupts vitamin B6 metabolism. Taking vitamin B6 alongside it can help lower the risk. Antiretroviral drugs used in HIV treatment, such as stavudine, didenosine, and zalcitabine, are associated with neuropathy in about 20 to 30% of patients. This happens mainly due to damage to the mitochondria. Amiodarone, a medication used for heart rhythm problems, has also been linked to nerve damage in around 5 to 10% of people, especially with long-term use. Colchicine, often prescribed for gout, may cause both nerve and muscle damage, particularly when taken along with statins. Some psychiatric medications, including lithium and certain antipsychotics, can also contribute to neuropathy in some individuals. If you are noticing symptoms of nerve damage, it's important to go over all your medications with your doctor. Ask whether any of them could be playing a role and if safer alternatives are available. Do not stop any medication on your own, but have a clear discussion about the best and safest options for your situation. Poison number 1, long-term inflammation caused by processed foods, oxidative stress, and inactivity. The most common cause affecting the largest number of people is not a single substance, but a pattern of lifestyle factors that create constant inflammation in the body. This includes processed foods, oxidative stress, and lack of physical activity. Diets high in processed foods, especially those rich in omega-6 fats, trans fats, and inflammatory compounds, can trigger ongoing immune responses. At the same time, low intake of antioxidants, exposure to pollution, and normal metabolic processes increase oxidative stress. This leads to the buildup of free radicals that damage nerve cells. A sedentary lifestyle makes things worse by reducing blood flow to the nerves and weakening the body's natural ability to control inflammation. Chronic inflammation raises levels of cytokines such as TNF-alpha, IL-1, and IL-6. These substances can directly harm nerves. They weaken the blood-nerve barrier, increase oxidative stress in nerve tissue, and activate processes that lead to nerve cell damage and death. Studies show that people with higher inflammatory markers, like C-reactive protein, are more likely to develop peripheral neuropathy. To reduce this risk, focus on lowering inflammation through daily habits. Eat whole, unprocessed foods with a focus on vegetables, fruits, fish, nuts, and olive oil. Stay active to improve blood flow to your nerves. Manage stress since it can increase inflammation levels. You can also consider supplements like omega-3 fatty acids, alpha-lipoic acid, and other antioxidants that support nerve function. These 7 nerve toxins are affecting millions of people. Identifying your exposure and making changes can help slow down the damage and, in some cases, support recovery. Which one surprised you the most? Do you think you're exposed to any of these? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, share it and subscribe for more health content backed by research.